Good afternoon from Simply Media and Deaver Brown, the publisher. I was asked today, in the political things that are going on for 2020 and beyond, what can the parties agree on that would help the country? Well, the first thing would be to streamline services based on the internet and online activities, plus citizens and workers' comfort with using those systems. What is that? Take an example I think is wonderful. Nikki Haley, a quite prominent Republican and governor of South Carolina, took on the job at the UN and basically got beaten from pillar to post in that job, but she stood up for the United States and said what needed to be said, and then she resigned on October 18th last year, 2018. Well, since then, we don't have a replacement. The nominee was the ambassador to Canada, and clearly we don't have much to ambassador to Canada about because it's right there, and we can talk to them, and we have tweets and phones and meetings and all the rest of it. And Justin Trudeau is totally capable on all those fronts. So we don't need an ambassador to talk to him and his people. In any event, it has always been a sinecure, which means a boondoggle, or in the union phrase, featherbedding, a job that doesn't need doing. So, do we need an ambassador to Canada? I don't see why. But remember, if you remove the ambassador, you remove everybody underneath him. And then what do? Well, the point is, you don't have to punish the people working. You can pay them until they get the next job, something I've always preferred to severance and all that, because if you terminate somebody and they don't come back in the building, you can afford to pay them for quite a while without it hurting you much, and it helps you because you're not paying overhead, you're not housing them, you're not having meetings, they're not traveling, all of those kind of things. Okay, let's go up from that. What about the ambassador that is being nominated to replace Nikki Haley? Well, she's the Canadian ambassador. People don't really know if she's been nominated or not and approved. She is not. She's presently being accused of traveling too much, which is kind of their job. But the point is, do we need the job at all at the UN? We don't. There's no reason for it in this age. We're not on horseback and we're not working just by steamship. So that's a position that could be eliminated. Now you can see that with Easy Pass on the East Coast, where we have tolls and all that, and Texas came to it late and they put up electronic things. You don't even know you're going through it. So all the hassle in Massachusetts, people argued about Easy Pass and all that, was because we had to throw quarters. And do we have the quarters? Or didn't we have the quarters? We got to wait in line to give them the quarters. Once Easy Pass came along, most of us, including me, were somewhat embarrassed about ever being upset about it because, of course, it wasn't a lot of money. But imagine the bureaucracy that was eliminated. Well, to do something with those people, Bill Weld, who was the governor, basically paid them till they got their next job or they retired, and we saved a fortune. But also the people benefited because we didn't get hassled at every moment. And now, when you go around the state of Massachusetts, you never have any tolls. You just go through these, whatever this is, there are no lines, and it never comes to much money. The same with New Hampshire. They've done the same thing. It's a very simple system. Well, what would the next step be? Well, New England was set up when we were all riding by horseback, and now there's no reason for things like the DMV, the Easy Pass people, the income tax people and all that to have separate groups. It all could be run out of one place, wherever that would be, and you don't need 6 different places and 6 different groups of people. And with the internet being the source of paying most taxes, and therefore easily audited, you don't need as many auditors and all the rest of it. So those are a few examples. And the point is, both parties would benefit. There's no reason to punish the people that work there now. Just don't replace them. That's it. Now, given everything, that's a pretty simple thing. Now, of course, one of the problems is that means those people and the people in those kind of jobs will have less importance. But they already do. At Walmart and all of the companies, they're all downsizing back office things and improving customer service. I mean, going to the Bank of America, as the CEO says, yeah, we've cut back the back office. That's just expense. But we've added people in the front lines. There are people to help you. There are. So think about that when you think about politics. Ask your political people. And I mean, take Massachusetts. We've got 160 House reps. That's 60 more than the United States Senate. We don't need 160. What we need to do is pay them, for a while and eliminate them to 20, 40, but certainly not 100. Well, that'd be a big thing. And what if we moved it out of high-cost Boston to the center of the state where they are more in need of the work and is representative of a lot of areas that aren't represented well? Well, that would cost a lot less. All of these steps that can be made are what one might call iterative, one at a time. Mozart can see a long way in advance. Most of us cannot. We have to go like peeling the onion, one step at a time. But we have a mutual interest as a country and everybody, no matter what your political point of view is. Now, let's take the big lefty in the 2020 election, Bernie. Bernie says, well, if we want to give money to people that don't have money, the IRS already has all the mechanism through the unearned income tax, which is really, in its proper name, the negative income tax. So Bernie's saying, well, we could use the current system just to pay out the money. Now, I'm not saying we should pay out the money, but I'm saying even somebody who declares himself a socialist and admires Chavez and Castro and Venezuela and Cuba and the old Russia, which he visited, understands efficiency. He'd like to get as much money to the people he thinks should get it as the rest of us would like to save that money, if we can, or spend it effectively. Now, on the Easy Pass, by the way, the state of Massachusetts makes 26% more on Easy Pass than collecting the money. So when you do this, not only don't you have the people, but the state governments that need money for many useful things get more money. That can't be bad. So anyway, think about that when you're thinking of the election. Stop thinking about nailing the other side and think about this piece of mutuality. I'm not saying you shouldn't vote against the other side, whatever side that is, but consider things such as this that could help all of us. That would be a nice thing. And why not? Thank you from Simply and Deaver Brown, the publisher.